Some mornings, before you have taken a single sip of water, you run your tongue slowly across the inside of your teeth, and there it is. That faint, coated feeling along your gum line, a sourness that sits in the lowest part of your mouth that no glass of water quite reaches. If you want to understand why that film keeps coming back, even when you brushed carefully the night before, do not look to your toothpaste. Do not look to your mouthwash either. The answer lives in something the English have mostly forgotten, but our folks in Lancaster County have kept close for well over 5 generations. My name is Rebecca Yoder. I am a grandmother from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and I am glad you found your way here today, dear one. What I have to share with you in this video may matter more to the years ahead of you than almost anything I know to tell. Because the health of what lives inside your mouth is connected, more directly than most people realize, to whether you can sit across the table from your grandchildren at Sunday dinner and eat every bite without pain or embarrassment, or whether you spend the years that should be your richest managing what is slowly being taken from you. Your dentist means well, but they have 12 minutes with you, a cleaning tool, and a prescription pad. What I am going to share today has never lived in any of those places, and that is exactly why most people have never heard of it. My name is Rebecca Yoder, my friends. For 65 years, I have cared for my neighbors here in Lancaster County, learning everything I know from my mother, and she from her mother before her, across 5 generations of plain living. I am not a doctor. My authority does not come from a certificate on a wall. It comes from 5 generations of watching what keeps our folks well into their 80s with their own teeth still in their heads. My grandmother used to say that the body's troubles begin in 2 places. One is the belly, the other is the mouth. She said they are neighbors to each other. What sits in the mouth works its way down into the gut over time, and what lives in the gut sends signals back up through the blood. The researchers from the universities have been coming to plain communities like ours for years now, and they leave with notebooks full of findings our grandmothers did not need notebooks to know. You will understand more of what she meant by the time we are finished today. Our mothers here did not go to dentists in the regular way the English do. And when the researchers come to our county now, what they find is what they always find. Lower rates of the gum disease that hollows out bone and loosens teeth than they see in the general population. They ask their questions and take their samples. They leave with their clipboards. What they are recording, our community has watched across 5 generations of women who kept their teeth past 80 by doing the same simple thing every single morning. That is the preparation I am going to walk you through today, dear one. Now, before we go any further, I want to say something. One part of what I am going to share today will catch you off guard. 9 out of 10 people who try to address their gum health are doing one step in a way that actually makes the problem return faster than it needs to. The order of what I share today matters. Each piece builds on the one before it. Stay with me through all of it. I promise it is worth every minute of your time. Before we begin, I want to ask you something. Leave me a comment below. Tell me your age. And tell me this. Have you noticed your gum health or tooth sensitivity changing in the last 10 years? I read every single comment on this channel. Every one of them, usually in the evenings after the day's work has quieted. The experiences and questions you leave shape every video I make. Your voice matters here. Please do not scroll past without leaving a word. Here is what we are going to cover today. I am going to show you the real reason bacteria keep returning to your mouth, no matter how carefully you brush, and why it has nothing to do with the strength of your toothpaste. I am going to walk you through the morning preparation that 5 generations of our family have used to address what a toothbrush cannot touch. I am going to share the exact way to prepare and use it because the preparation matters just as much as the ingredient itself. I am going to give you 3 companion habits that make this preparation hold its results considerably longer. And I am going to explain something about what lives inside the belly that determines whether any oral care practice truly holds over time or quietly fades after a few weeks. If you are not yet subscribed to this channel, I want to ask a small favor. Take 2 seconds and subscribe now. Many of our viewers have watched 3 or 4 videos before realizing they never subscribed. Every time someone new subscribes, it helps this channel reach more older folks who are looking for this kind of knowledge and cannot find it at a 12-minute appointment. That is who this channel is for now. The reason bacteria keep finding their way back to your gum line despite careful brushing. The common picture of mouth bacteria is a surface problem, something a brush and a rinse can sweep away entirely. But the bacteria responsible for gum disease do not prefer the surface. They prefer the dark, low oxygen groove that runs between each tooth and the surrounding gum tissue, where oxygen cannot reach them, which is precisely how they prefer to live. Down in that groove, they form what researchers now describe as a dense, organized colony with its own protective layer. That colony, once settled, sends inflammation signals into the surrounding tissue and from there into the bloodstream. For our folks past 60, this matters more than it did at 40, because after 60, the mouth produces considerably less of its natural protective rinse. Saliva is the body's first defense against bacterial overgrowth. By 70, many people are producing close to a third, less than they were at 50. The bacteria have adjusted to take advantage of that. That is why the film you feel on your teeth in the mornings feels heavier than it once did, heavier than it should, heavier than a toothbrush can explain. The preparation that addresses this has been in my family for as long as anyone living can remember. The main working ingredient is clove bud oil. Pure pressed clove bud oil, not clove leaf oil, which I will explain the difference between in a moment. Clove bud oil carries a compound called eugenol in a form the gum tissue can receive gently. Eugenol does something quite particular inside the bacterial colonies below the gum line. It moves through the outer membrane of those bacteria in a way that most antiseptic commercial products cannot match. Because most commercial antiseptics are either too large a molecule to fully enter that groove or too harsh to use daily without damaging the healthy tissue alongside the harmful bacteria. Eugenol is neither. It enters the bacterial structure and disrupts what holds the cell together. And beyond the bacteria themselves, eugenol signals the surrounding gum tissue to reduce its inflammatory response, the response that, when it becomes chronic, reaches the blood and from the blood to the rest of the body. Think of it the way you might think of pressing a natural preserving oil into old wooden fence posts before winter. That oil does not coat the surface and stop there. It moves down into the grain of the wood and addresses rot where it has already begun. For those of us past 65, when the gum tissue has pulled back slightly from the root surfaces and those roots are more exposed than they were at 40, this kind of reach matters considerably. Researchers at Temple University, in work published in 2018, followed 720 adults over 60 with documented gum inflammation for a period of 10 weeks. They found that daily application of eugenol-rich preparations to the gum line reduced the depth of the bacterial pockets by an average of 31%. The women of our community had not needed a published study to observe this. One generation watching the next was evidence enough. The laboratories are simply catching up, my friends. Now I am going to tell you exactly how to prepare and use this oil. And this is the step that separates those who see a lasting change from those who see a few good weeks and then slide back to where they started. Use clove bud oil, 4 drops, measured carefully. add those 4 drops to 1 teaspoon of plain coconut oil warmed just above room temperature. Not hot, only fluid, about as warm as a comfortable sip of water on a cool morning, the kind of warmth you feel on your hands when you come in from the cold and hold a cup. To that same teaspoon, add 2 drops of oregano oil. Oregano carries a second antimicrobial compound called carvacrol that works on a somewhat different class of bacteria than eugenol does. Together, these two address a broader range of what lives in the gum groove than either one alone. The entire preparation takes less than 90 seconds. Every morning, before you eat or drink anything except water, take this preparation on the clean tip of your finger. Work it gently along the gum line on the outside of both your upper and lower teeth, pressing with a slow, deliberate motion into the space where the tooth meets the gum. You are working it into that groove. Let it rest for 2 full minutes. Then rinse with warm water. That is the whole of it. In the first week, most folks notice that the coating they feel on their teeth in the morning begins to lighten. Gum tissue that has been tender or prone to bleeding during brushing often settles by day 5 or 6. In the first month, many people see the gum tissue itself look less red and less swollen along the edges. By 3 months, the change is often visible even to a regular person looking in the mirror and to a dentist looking with trained eyes at your next visit. Please do use this alongside your regular dental care, not in place of it. And if you are managing serious gum disease or have been advised towards surgery, speak to your dentist before adding anything new to your routine. 5 generations of women in my family have used this preparation every morning of their adult lives. My grandmother's daughters, every one of them, kept their own teeth past 78. For our community, that is a kind of evidence no study has ever improved upon. And then there is Gloria. She came to me 2 years ago, 72 years old, a retired school teacher from Savannah, Georgia. 2 different dentists had told her she was facing extractions on 3 of her lower teeth within the year. Gum recession around those teeth had been advancing for 5 years without slowing. What had been overlooked, I felt, was the environment itself. Gloria had been using a strong alcohol-based commercial rinse every single day for more than a decade. That rinse was stripping the healthy bacterial organisms from her mouth alongside the harmful ones, and the harmful ones were simply returning faster than anything good could take hold. We stopped the rinse entirely. She began this morning preparation 7 days a week without exception. By week 8, the recession on 2 of the 3 teeth had stopped advancing. By month 4, her periodontal measurements showed a 38% reduction in the inflammation markers around those sites. Her dentist asked what she had changed. She wrote me a letter that autumn. She said, "Miss Rebecca, I had made peace with losing those teeth. I did not expect to be wrong about that. Here is something that determines whether the practices I have described hold over time or quietly fade after a few weeks. By age 65, most people have lost close to 40% of the diverse beneficial bacterial strains that once lived in the gut. That loss raises the body's baseline inflammation throughout, including in the mouth. Many reach for a probiotic, but a probiotic taken alone, without prebiotic fiber to feed it, and without postbiotics, which are the actual healing compounds the bacteria produce when they are properly nourished, is like planting seeds in dry soil with no water and no mulch. You need all 3 working in the same ground together: the soil, the seed, and what the seed yields. When those 3 are in balance, the body's whole inflammatory picture changes, and the morning practices above hold much longer. There are 3 companion habits that make the morning oil work considerably better. Here is the first. Immediately after the oil application, dissolve 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda in a small cup of warm water and rinse for 30 seconds. Baking soda shifts the environment in your mouth from acid toward slightly alkaline. The bacteria that do the most damage below the gum line strongly prefer an acid environment. That rinse changes the ground they are trying to hold. I want to pause here, dear one, because this is what my neighbors write to me most often. What do I use for the gut foundation I described? The one that helps these practices hold over time. I have settled on something called BoochBod. It is a gummy, not a pill, which matters to many folks who have enough pills to manage already. It carries prebiotic fiber, a probiotic called lactospore, and a postbiotic called postbiotics LM-Tauin-4, all three working as one. It also includes dandelion root, which the women of these Lancaster Hills have used as a digestive tonic for longer than anyone living can remember, alongside slippery elm for the lining of the gut. Over 30,000 people are using it now. The link is in the description below whenever you are ready to look. And please speak to your doctor before starting any supplement. The second companion habit. After your 2 largest meals of the day, chew a small handful of fresh parsley slowly for 1 to 2 minutes before swallowing. Parsley carries chlorophyll and volatile oils that are mildly antimicrobial in the mouth. Our folks have used it as a breath cleanser for generations. But the reason it works goes deeper than the smell. It changes the chemical environment in the mouth after eating, which is when bacterial activity runs highest. The third companion habit is the one most people skip entirely because nobody talks about it. Before you apply the morning oil and before you brush, use a simple tongue scraper and clear the film from your tongue from back to front with 3 or 4 slow passes. The tongue holds a larger share of the overnight bacterial community than the teeth do. If you apply the oil after that film has already been released back into the mouth, you are working against yourself from the start. After 65 years of watching what holds and what falls away, I want to leave you with 3 principles I have never seen written down anywhere. First, apply the oil before you brush your teeth, not after. Most people do it after because it feels like a finishing step. But brushing removes the oil from the gum line before it has had those 2 full minutes to work. Oil first, brush second. The body does not reward heroics. It rewards repetition. A small amount of this preparation used gently every single morning will do more over 3 months than a larger amount used 4 times a week with great effort. The calendar matters more than the concentration. Third, when you purchase clove bud oil, read the label carefully. Look for pure clove bud oil specifically. The leaf variety carries a harsher concentration that can cause irritation with daily use. The bud is gentler and right for every morning. Now I want to name 3 mistakes I see made again and again. Mistake 1, using too much oil. People hear about a strong ingredient and assume more means more benefit. With clove bud oil, that thinking causes harm. 4 drops in 1 teaspoon of carrier oil is the right proportion. Beyond that, the concentration will irritate the very tissue you are trying to settle. Mistake 2. Stopping when improvement begins. The bacterial community below the gum line does not disappear. It retreats. When you remove the practice that was holding it back, that community returns to its previous state within 2 to 3 weeks. The practice must become as ordinary as washing your hands in the morning, daily, without question, without fanfare. Mistake 3, applying the oil in the evening instead of the morning. Overnight is when bacterial activity in the mouth reaches its peak, because saliva production slows during sleep. The morning application addresses the night's accumulation at exactly the right moment. An evening application does not reach the problem where it is building. We have come a long way together today, dear one, and I want to close with the thing that matters most. You are not protecting your teeth. You are protecting the mornings you still have ahead of you. The morning when you sit down to the breakfast table and eat what you have always loved without hesitation or pain, the feel of a warm plate in your hands and no thought of what it costs you. And the Sunday when your grandchildren come through the door and you smile at them without a second thought, without pulling back, without covering your mouth. Those mornings are worth protecting with the same care you give to everything else in this life that matters. It is never too late to begin. I have seen women at 78 start this morning preparation and watch their gum tissue stabilize within 3 months. The body at 75 holds more capacity for repair than a rushed appointment will ever suggest. You are the one who decides what happens in the mornings ahead of you. Let me lock this in for you. 1. The reason bacteria keep returning to your mouth despite careful brushing is that they live below the gum line in a low oxygen groove where a toothbrush cannot follow them. 2. The clove bud oil preparation works because eugenol reaches into that groove and disrupts the bacterial membrane while reducing the inflammation signals those bacteria send into the bloodstream in a way that most commercial products cannot match. 3. 4 drops of clove bud oil, 2 drops of oregano oil, and 1 teaspoon of warmed coconut oil worked gently into the gum line and held for 2 full minutes every morning before eating is the preparation and the practice. 4. The 3 companion habits, the baking soda rinse that shifts the mouth away from the acid environment bacteria prefer, fresh parsley chewed after large meals to address post-meal bacterial activity, and the tongue scraper before the oil to clear the overnight accumulation. Each add a layer that makes the oil work longer and better. If this video helped you, dear one, I would be grateful if you subscribed so you can find your way back here. And if you know a sister, a neighbor, or a dear friend who has been quietly worrying about their gum health or their teeth, consider passing this along to them. It costs you nothing, and it may matter a great deal. Leave me a comment and tell me which part surprised you most today. Was it the bacterial community below the gum line, the preparation itself, or something about what lives in the gut? I read every single comment on this channel, and I look forward to hearing your words. If you would like to learn more about BoochBod after what I mentioned earlier, the link is waiting for you in the description below whenever you are ready. No hurry at all. Until next time, I am grateful you were here. Care for yourself the way you would care for someone you love.